So thanks for joining us and speaking to Outlook Money. So first question is that we are seeing that data, like data about the different sectors, automobile and the economy is coming day by day in the public domain, and that depicts quite dismal picture about the economy. And there are a lot of speculations about it. Are we heading to recession and whatnot? So what's your quick comment on that, keeping in consideration the whole picture of the economy?
So one thing is clear, that you have to look at this economy in two different ways. One is, if you look at the medium to long term, we're in absolutely great shape because we are putting the building blocks for the long term growth of this economy. And from a 3 trillion economy, for us to now go to 5 trillion, it seems clearly a doable job. So it does not seem like an impossible ask that the Prime Minister and the FM put out there. But the challenge is here and now of today, that the current slowdown, which has impacted almost all the consumer-facing businesses across the board, is creating despondence to the point that the mood is down. So already in a slow economy, people's purchase decisions actually get deferred or get pushed back, which makes it worse. And then the government has gone and made some announcements, or at least indication, that we will most likely do things like either cash injection into the economy, or we will lower taxes on automotives and others. Moment you say this, people further push back their decision because they expect things will get cheaper over time, so I will wait. So the time is actually not only to think about it, the time is actually to make decision and act upon it right away. So I'm quite clear the government is very aware actually, and they've made this plain. They're very aware of the situation. Over the last 2 or 3 decades, the growth has been phenomenal for any country in the world. This is amazing growth. But we were working on two engines. On the one hand, we had investments. So second, we had consumption and demand parallelly keeping up. In the last few years, the investment went down and consumption kept up. Now with the NBFCs and banks getting affected, the consumption has also got reduced, and that is having this big impact.
And having said that, do you think that it's appropriate to say that we are heading towards a recession?
So that's a very difficult question to answer, because there are many different things which contribute or push an economy into a full recession. I don't think we are there yet, and I certainly hope we are not. We will not get caught into a full recession, because that takes a much longer cycle. Because for any economy, there are part structural issues and part cyclical issues which actually matter. There are things like, policy decisions, tax rates, how much money is in supply in the system, in the banking system, etc. And then this cyclicality of different sectors of the economy. And when these two come together, and in an entrenched fashion, you actually do head into a recession. At this moment, we are not quite there. And I think quick action from the government, encouraging more private investment, first consumption and then followed through by investment to come in, can help us to stay away from that. Because the global situation itself is not helping much. Most economies, barring the US, are actually themselves struggling right now.
Right.
Bond rates are the lowest they have been, yields are low. There are countries with negative interest rates right now. A number of countries have negative interest rates. So actually they have a unique opportunity, because we are still an economy growing. When we grow at 6%, it's very poor for us, because our need is for higher. But otherwise, by global standards, we are in an amazing situation. So we need to ensure that this machine keeps ticking and moving forward.
And so my third question is that there are divergent views. Someone is terming it as a cyclical slowdown, someone is terming it as a structural slowdown. So what's your opinion on that? What kind of slowdown?
So as you heard right now, since we're sitting at the Mindmine Summit, you had all kinds of experts, including officials, including ministers, including bureaucrats, including think tanks. The Niti Aayog is here. All of them are here. Chief Economic Advisor of the government is also here. You heard different views from industry, from the stock markets. Ramdev Agarwal is here. So the way people are looking at it is that no matter where it's come from, the situation that we're facing is real. Okay? It's not just talk. It is a real situation which needs to be addressed. And the quicker it gets addressed, the more the chances of us not going into a recession, the more and the better the chances of us to be able to maintain the growth that we had anticipated before the year started.
And so my last question is about that you belong from industrial fraternity, and like whatever the government may announce measures in budget about the FBI and surcharge on income tax for super rich people, how do you see all these measures?
So there are two things which are happening right now. One is the government, including at the senior most level, the Prime Minister, FM, etc., in the last few public outings on the 15th August speech by the Prime Minister, the FM's budget speech, the opening was that we respect those who create wealth and value, because that is wealth and value for the whole nation. That has a multiplier effect, that creates jobs, that creates more opportunities. But what people are saying is we need to see this also in action being implemented in different ways the system works, policy implementation, execution, revenue department. So there is some mismatch in there, and I think it's time for this to get resolved, because it is a reality in any system, in any economy. Those who run the economy create value, wealth through industrial activities, service, manufacturing, agriculture, no matter what the activity. I think all of that role we need to have pride in that role. So that's nation building. That's how you build a nation. That's how the nation value and wealth gets built. This is the wealth which then gets used to build education, healthcare, highways, roads, ports. And we have one of the most amazing programs right now in infrastructure in the world has ever seen. Actually, our road building program is the largest ever seen in the world. Our programs like the DMIDC and the Ludhiana-Kolkata corridor, our number of airports and ports, we are in an amazing place right now. So this has to be a machine where all of us are aligned and pulling in one direction: government, industry, and civil society all together. Any one of us not being in sync is not going to help us to tap our full potential.
And sir, at last, my final question is like that Mindmine Summit provides a stage to strike up a very crucial discussion. So what's your idea behind organizing this summit?
The idea was exactly this, is to create a platform where different parts of India can come together. So the Mindmine Institute, which is a think tank, independent think tank, looks at India, Indians, Indian industry, Indian economy, and India's global relations. So all aspects which interact on how we as a nation and we as a people are and can be in the future are discussed here, and we get leaders from all walks of life. We have politicians from government and outside of government, we have think tanks, academics, industry leaders, civil society, artists. So literally a microcosm of India, including agriculturists. We also have some of agriculture experts and actual agriculturists coming into sessions to look at things like agriculture, water, energy, technology, and social structure. So all of these are discussed in a very open conversational manner, and that allows us to capture some of these ideas and then feed them back into the system to government, industry, and policy makers to use it for India's benefit.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.